I mean, I was exhausted by the end of the first season, but I'm pretty sure anyone would have been. It's one of the most extreme things I've ever gone through. And there was a lot of pain at the end of that. I wasn't sure what it was, and it wasn't going away. And ended up being diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
I first met Andy when I was about, I guess, 22 or something like that, in summer vacation in between university. A mutual friend invited us all to go backpacking around Indonesia. And so that's when I first met him very briefly with his previous partner. And then 5 years later we bumped into each other through the same friend and were actually working out at the same gym. And that's where we became friends, and coincidentally he'd just finished a very long-term relationship and we became friends. And I remember thinking, how could I actually find myself attracted to such a handsome guy, because I normally go for the mean ones. Anyway, that was the start of a very, really great friendship, and that was 13 years ago. We never looked back. I think for Andy, when he realised that this was his opportunity and that his incredible hard work and dogged determination to get there, you know, once he'd actually mastered that, I think a little bit of fear set in. You know, the responsibility of being the lead in a hugely, highly budgeted production knocked him off his perch a little bit. You know, and I think that was part of Andy's beauty. He was humble with it, because he really felt that he had an obligation to do this very well for everyone involved. When Andy was first diagnosed, it was a very frightening experience, because not only was he told that he had the possibility of having cancer, he was told that he had stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a very dangerous place to be. So before we spoke about it really to the press or to anyone other than the immediate family, we needed to understand exactly what was going on. And so we waited till we understood what was going on and what our approach was and how to travel through that treatment period, if you like, before we communicated that with everyone. Because you really want everyone to be on your side in terms of supporting you. You don't want everybody to just think you're going to croak it. So we really wanted to communicate that in a way that had everyone support us in a positive way. When you go through a treatment process and dealing with cancer, it can be a day-to-day, an hour-to-hour, a minute-to-minute in terms of how you choose to deal with the situation. And I think that's what got us through, is that we, you know, when we're having a bad day, you just go, you know what, it's a bad day, and tomorrow will be a new day. And I believe that's the way you get through something like that. After Andy's initial round of treatment, and when we found out he wasn't in fact in remission and the cancer had come back, it was kind of like being punched in the face really hard. And after our initial shock, as usual, we stood up and went, okay, what can we do with this? You know, this is clearly a life lesson. Let's do something. And Andy was like, if I'm going to have to go through this, I need to do something of value to contribute to others. So given the circle of people and support structures we have, let's tell a story. Let's, whatever happens, whether I make it or I don't make it, whatever I choose to do in terms of the type of treatment I take, let's document all of it, because if it can actually make a difference to somebody else, then it seems worth it. When Andy came close to, I call it his departure, he was actually very, very poorly, and so he didn't do a lot of speaking. You know, he went in and out of lucidity, and the most extraordinary thing about his goodbye to the kids was that there was very little of Andy left, and the only thing he seemed to respond to was his very bossy wife saying, I need you to do this. You know, it was like that thing, you know, when you're in a trauma or something, you know, you just need clarity and direction. And I knew that there wasn't long, so I wanted him to say goodbye to the children. You know, it was a very important part for the rest of their lives that they have a recollection and a memory of actually saying goodbye to their father. And I feel that we were privileged to have that. And so I spoke to Andy and I said that you need to say goodbye to your children now, and you need to wake up. And he did. And out of nowhere, he sat up and he found the energy and the breath to be able to talk about his body no longer working like a butterfly, you know, like its wings broken, so therefore it can no longer be here. And he explained that to the kids, and he said goodbye to his children. You know, we're doing really good, nearly a year on. because of the way we all operate as a family, our own personal values about making the most of life, we have our sad days, but they're beautiful in their own way. But we're doing really good, and we have a great support network, and there's nothing like having your husband looking down on you to make things happen, I think the message that I certainly want to put out there through backing this documentary is that you get one life, so make the most of it. And in terms of the name of the documentary about Be Here Now, all you have is now. If that's a minute or 5 minutes or 5 years or 50 years, there is always a choice to make the most of your life. And if you live it fearlessly, there's so much more to choose from within that.
When Andy was re-diagnosed with cancer, he and Vashti sat down, and the first time that he went through cancer treatment, when he was first diagnosed, it was a very isolating and scary and kind of lonely experience for them. And so when he was re-diagnosed, literally that day, they went and they got Be Here Now tattooed on their matching tattoos on their arms. And they said, we're going to do it differently this time. And this time we want to share the story, because Andy felt like there were probably other people going through what he went through, and that maybe through his story he could help and inspire them.
In my heart, I am convinced that this is all meant to be. It's supposed to be right here, right now, and I'm open to the journey and to the discoveries and to the adventure of all of this.